Hey, everybody, and welcome to episode 117 of the Structure and Flow podcast. I'm Dr. Minette Riordan here with my husband, Brad Dobson. And today we're so excited we have a guest. I want to introduce you to somebody that has really kind of rocked my world the last couple of months. It's been so fun since we met in Denver. And this is the brilliant content marketing strategist and expert, Shannon Hernandez. Welcome, Shannon.
Hi, Shannon.
Hi, thanks so much for having me.
No, I'm super excited about this conversation. Shannon and I have some fun stuff to share with you today about a retreat that Shannon is hosting and is being gracious enough to let me come teach creativity at, which is something kind of new for me. So we're excited to get going on the conversation.
The teaching creativity or the creativity?
The teaching creativity.
I was going to say.
Teach people to make art is a new thing for me. No, teaching is not new for me at all. But we always start with a quote. You want to share the quote?
Sure. I think I can even do this one without my glasses.
I know. I made it really big for you.
This is from Robin Sharma. I know that name. Why do I know that name?
Because she's a productivity expert.
Oh, okay. Productivity is less about what you do with your time and more about how you run your mind.
And I love this. Productivity is less about what you do with your time and more about how you run your mind. And
Wow.
Shannon has been having some great conversations in her Marketing for Thought Leaders Facebook group around the mindset around business and a lot about confidence. But before we even get there, I want to back up and just say a few words about Shannon. So in case we didn't have enough in common, like we both share the first name Mary, we both go by our middle names, Minette and Shannon, and she was a teacher for a long time. So she comes from an education background as well, though middle school. I taught high school. So blessings on you for all the hard work that you did. And
I got them ready for you people.
Got them ready for me. And what she learned was that she really wanted to make a bigger difference in the world. She wanted to be a thought leader. And she started a business, which maybe she'll tell you about her creative design business that she started and how she came up with this idea of this content personality wheel. And as you guys know, I love assessments. I've created my own assessments. I've taken a lot of them, but this one had a really big impact on me and my business, and I'll share more about that. But Shannon, I'd love for you to just share in your own words a little bit about your journey to how you got to where you are right now in your business.
Yeah, so it's been a fun journey. I've been in business about 5 years. I was a teacher for 15 years, taught in Upper Manhattan in New York City. Inner city kids, 8th graders, they were crazy. It was fun. There was never a dull moment. But then I decided I just wasn't happy with the system and there wasn't much I could do to change the system, no matter how hard I tried. So I left and I actually started as a writer. So I had been teaching reading and writing for all these years, and I could really help people understand, like, you have an idea here, let's break it down and let's get it into a format. I was prepping them for state writing tests. So I came up with all kinds of hacks and tricks and ways to get them to score really high so they could apply to a good high school. And then, so I left teaching and I became a copywriter and a content writer for people in their own businesses. And that was a long, windy journey. I commanded high prices from the beginning. I think it was like the best thing I've ever done in my business is I don't listen to what anyone tells me about pricing. I just set my own prices and just like sell the shit out of stuff, as I like to say. And, but the problem was I was then tied to my computer because it was still just me and I had to do all the writing and the revisions and the work. And I would go on family vacations and I'd be like, what the hell? Like, I'm still working. This is the exact same thing as teaching and grading papers, except now I'm like writing people's stuff. So I did a pivot about 2 years in and I dropped the content and copywriting and started teaching people how to market their business in a way that gets attention and gets some clients. And that's what I've been doing now for the last 3 years. It's been a lot of fun. We have grown really fast, which has brought a lot of income and stress because, it's like now I have 15 people lined up for marketing audits all of a sudden over the last week. And I'm like, how am I going to get to all these people?
That's a good place to be.
It's a good place to be. It is what I teach people to do. I do have a team of 12 in my brand. So I'm not by myself, but every time, I'm training someone now in sales. So that takes time. And then of course, when you're training someone in sales, you have 15 people wanting to talk to somebody who's being trained in sales. So it's a constant cycle of growth and fun. I try to remember to have a lot of fun, even when I'm stressed out. But the wheel has been a game changer for people around the world. And I know that's what you want to probably talk about next.
We could talk about a lot of things. And this is a podcast about, structure and flow and productivity. And the reason you've been able to grow so fast, I've heard you say this multiple times, is not only are you organized, but you invested in help from the beginning. Like you knew this wasn't something you could grow alone, and you couldn't have the creative space to come up with a content personality wheel until you had support that you needed. So there's so many ways we could go in this conversation, but yeah, let's talk about the content personality system that you've created, because I do think it in and of itself, I've been talking a lot today, can you tell, is a way to work smart, which is what we talk about a lot, how to work smarter, not harder. And this is the way to work smart and get more clients. So tell us more.
Yeah. So the content personality wheel was born one night after a conversation. It was a string of conversations. It's like the one that broke the camel's back was a lady that called me, and she was crying in my ear, and she actually called for a consultation. She wanted to, she didn't want to. She was being forced to write a book by her coach. She was in a program, and it was a year-long program, and they were at the point where they would be locked in a hotel in San Diego for 3 days in a room, and she was to come out with a manuscript. And she was sobbing hysterically in my ear. And this was not the first time that I had heard my coach is making me do video, my coach is making me do a podcast, like the next content thing, like people were calling because they were being forced, really what I call forced out of alignment. And so I guided her lovingly. We cried together, that lady and I. It was a very sad call, but I guided her lovingly through that conversation. I told her I was not going to give her a topic for her book, that she should not be writing a book if she didn't want to write a book, and that she should probably fire the coach, because no one should force you into those situations where you don't feel good about yourself. So anyway, she left. I don't know what she decided to do. I couldn't help her, but I laid in bed that night and I thought there's got to be a way that I can help people understand the person they are right now today. You're not broken, you don't need fixed, and you don't need to be forced out of alignment. How can I help them see what type of content is good for them right now? And that was when the wheel was born. I did not sleep. I got up, I sketched it. It's like a divine, it's like a divine thing.
Total download. Yeah.
Yeah. Sketched the wheel. The sketch everyone sees now is the original sketch, like nothing has changed. And within a week, I had a 6-module course put together for it. Like my brain was just like on fire. So it has been instrumental, not only in growing my own business, but helping people understand that in 5 minutes, you can take a quiz and it will spit out to you the top 2 content personalities that you should focus on right now, so that you can feel comfortable in your marketing and get clients and get money and have a lot of fun.
And will you just name what the content personalities are for people who are listening?
Sure. There's 5. It's video, audio, live in person, visual, and written.
So simple, you guys. I mean, this is not rocket science at all. And yet it's as brilliant as rocket science, because that piece about alignment is so important. It's what reminded me, I'm spending so much time making video, and where I'm happiest is writing. And I've been spending so much time behind my computer. In the second place I'm happiest is live in front of people. And my top 2 are written and live events. And I haven't been doing that. And it's been having an impact on our sales. Totally.
So how do we align that when, we get the output from this quiz? Wonderful. It probably told us what we knew in our guts anyways, but we still need to do those other things. So I understand, some people, they don't want to be on video because they just have a lot of self-confidence issues and that type of stuff. But it's almost unavoidable that in our business, like for us personally, we do video. We have to have video. So how do you align that?
It's a great
Brad,
question.
I'm taking you down. Are you
Okay.
ready?
Yay!
You do not have to do anything you don't want to frickin' do in your business. I don't care. If you think you need to go do video and video's number 4 or 5 on the list, your videos are going to suck. The energy is going to suck. The whole thing's going to suck and no one's going to buy your stuff.
Well, so if I've got someone maybe beside me who's really good live on stage, but isn't as happy on video, really they're the same thing. Just you need more practice on the video than you do ad-libbing it. So what's wrong with getting more practice and becoming better at one of those things that isn't necessarily at the top of your list?
Well, you can get more practice. And I always say the wheel is a tool. And I really encourage people to take the quiz at least twice a year. And they do. They check in, because as you get more comfortable with things, your results will change. I think that's an amazing tool, right? Quit using a screwdriver if you really need a hammer. Like it's simple here. But as far as your question was, how can you get better? I don't even really teach people to come out of their top 2 to begin with, because it's not where their energy is. It's not where their heart is. And someone like Manette, who's really great at live in person, and she can stand on a stage. She's got the audience there. The lights are on. She's got the spotlight on her. That's very different than talking to a cold camera. No one's behind it. You're talking to yourself in the end. Like you just know it. The energy of it is different. And for people, my top 2 content personalities are live in person and video. And so I can rock a video. I can turn that video on and I can talk. I don't need a script. I know right to the point. I got my teaching points and I'm off and going. And when I fell away from video, because I'm also an author and I love to write, my sales plummeted. Now writing is number 3 and it's very high up there. But my energy and my essence and the people who buy from me, I can go live every time I go live on Facebook. Even without a call to action, somebody contacts me to buy something.
Gotcha.
Like that is the power of staying in your content personality.
I see. No, that makes sense.
And so when Shannon and I had this conversation about live events, and it's not always possible to do live events in front of an audience, Zoom counts. Like for me, I'm just as happy creating live events on Zoom, and Shannon does as well. We both do tons of live events.
So live video.
Zoom. So it's live. It's the connection with the audience is what feeds me personally.
I see.
And so just learning to know that. But when you give people permission to stand in their gifts and to use their gifts and to believe that their gifts can bring them money, everything changes, which leads me into this idea of how knowing your content personality improves productivity. So talk a little bit about what your clients have been able to let go of because of this.
Yeah, so there's a lot of things here. I had somebody call me. She'd been trying to write a book for 7 years. She wanted a book. And I was like, whoa, you are persistent. She's like, I hate it. Every time I sit down to write, like I freaking hate it. And I'm like, what's your content personality? She said audio and something else. I said, pick up your phone and dictate the book, send it off to transcribe and get an editor involved. Within 8 weeks, she came back in my inbox and she said, I have a book and I'm using it now for my business. That was 8 weeks was way more productive for her than actually like 7 years of trying to write the book.
That's a great example.
And it's also the confidence, right? So she would beat herself up every day. She wanted a book. She didn't want to write a book. She couldn't probably write a book. I mean, I'm not saying she's a bad writer, but it takes a lot of discipline to write a book. We've done it, right? Like, it's not just like even if you're a great writer, writing a book takes discipline and you've got to be driven to do it. So can you imagine someone sitting down for 7 years every week and trying to write a book and what it would do to the confidence?
Yeah.
And just the rest of the life, right? Like if your confidence is affected in one area of your life, it affects the rest of your life. Like we know this. It does. Not like little vacuums here.
And I'm thinking about, some of the conversations I've seen in the Marketing for Thought Leaders Facebook group also, where you're so encouraging to people don't try to do everything. One of the biggest mistakes that, creatives make is that they're listening to all the advice that's out there, and they're trying to use all 5 content personalities at once to market their business instead of staying in their lane and being really focused on what it is that they're best at.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
It's like the integrating your gifts piece. Brad and I have been talking a lot about making sure that we're bringing all of our gifts to bear on our business, which for Brad meant bringing programming back. So, his content personality is programming, right? And it's a really powerful one. And we were completely not even building that into the plan. So when you know what your content personality is, I would imagine it also improves productivity. It makes it a lot easier to plan and strategize how you should be spending your time, your marketing dollars, and your marketing energy.
Well, it sounds like it's the difference between 7 years and 8 weeks, right?
Yeah. And
that's a big productivity increase.
It's a big productivity increase. And just from a marketing perspective, you all know, you teach this as well, you've got to be consistent. And so if every day you're sitting down to do something you don't want to do to begin with, one, the energy's off and it's wonky, and that's the energy that's being fed out to your people. But 2, your productivity goes down, because now you're like fighting, oh, I'm going to go live. I mean, somebody posted somewhere, I've been busy coaching today, but I saw a post come up like, I've tried to do a video 4 times now, and I've been doing this for 2 hours. And I'm going to say, what's your content personality?
Yeah, well, it's like me recording the Productive Creative video series, trying to use a teleprompter when I should have just spoken. As long as I just turn on the video and I just talk, I'm fine. It's when I think that I need to stick to a script that then I get stuck in my head and I start to play those games and I do 5,000 takes, which then is more editing for Brad. So it definitely impacts the productivity, where if I stay in my lane, like you said, I just turn on the video and talk, I'm way more comfortable. So I'm curious about the audio personality in today's marketplace. Video is such a powerful conversation. We know that between YouTube and Facebook and Google, like so much money is being invested in these live streaming and pre-recorded Netflix, another one, video platforms. How can people with audio really market effectively just with voice today?
Well, podcasts are not dead. Clearly.
Yeah, they're a long way from dead.
Yeah, there's a lot of if you plan a podcast right and you have a great strategy, I think podcasts are still very, very relevant. But one of the things I want to say, I turned my efforts about 8 months ago to teaching people how to sell with their content personality. I sell via video. I will record a video and I will pop it into a Facebook message and be like, hey, I've got a retreat coming up. Manette and I are doing a retreat. It's in Pennsylvania. I'm so excited. I've been thinking about you. This is why I think it would be good for you. And their name is throughout the video, so they know that the video was made for them. That is huge in sales and building trust and rapport with people. The same is done with audio. I use an app called Voxer, Voxer. It's like a walkie-talkie app, but I use it for selling, and I also use the audio button in Facebook Messenger for selling. Because if you think about the levels of touch of email, everyone has 1,000 emails, okay? The email marketing is not dead, but there's a lot going on in people's inboxes. If you can send them a private video or private audio message with their name and they know that you are thinking about them specifically, it just like skyrockets your sales. And it's why I now have all these people sitting ready for consultations throughout September. And it's because I used video, and audio can be used the same way.
We love sharing apps and tools. So Voxer is a great one, but there's another one you introduced me to for video that you love and use all the time.
Loom.
Yep.
So
Loom.
Yeah, Loom is incredible. I thought it was fantastic. So just to clarify, you are using Facebook Messenger in the context of, or I guess you could do it with Loom as well via email, but you're recording, you come up with some sort of script that you then reread for clients that you think you want to target, and then you send that to them individually on Messenger?
Yep. So here's a great example. There were people that answered a post, do you want to make $10,000 a month? Like, I'm going to teach you how to build out this funnel. At the time, I was just trying to see where my audience was with it, but there was so much interest that I put them all in a Facebook message. There were 21 of them. I put them all in a private Facebook message on Saturday, and I sent an audio clip, and I said, hey, you answered the call that you want to have a minimum of $10,000 months in your business. If this is for real, if you're for real, I want you to stick around in this Facebook Messenger. I'm putting together a workshop. I have sold 10 of them at $500 in less than 36 hours.
Good stuff.
Okay, so I use Messenger. Now I'm going to go out on a limb and say, you're not supposed to use Messenger to sell stuff. Okay, I do.
But you're not really.
So
right? You're using you're using it to create conversations with people. And then in the conversations you're selling. So
Exactly.
It's just, to me, it's part of the relationship building.
It is. And I spend, my workday 80% on Facebook, but I'm actually selling and making a lot of money in private messages and getting people in my group, like on board with the plan. Brad, you should come to my group. It's such an amazing
Oh, cool.
group. We'd love to have you in there.
And it's not all women either. There's some nice diversity.
It's all right. I'm okay with women.
So, teaching people how to sell with their content personality has also been a game changer. And I love selling. I see it as an invitation. I see it as an opportunity to work with me in some capacity. And I think people like the personalized approach of either Loom in the Facebook Messenger or an audio file in the Facebook Messenger.
I agree. And having been a recipient of both myself, I love the personalization of that. And even just the written messages, right? It's become, I probably spend more time connecting with clients and colleagues and scheduling things through Facebook Messenger these days, or Slack, but in-house between us, than I do in my email. So I love it. I think it's a great tool. So where can people go to find out what their content personality is?
They can go to M as in Mary, ShannonHernandez.com, and they can take the quiz right there on the homepage. It'll take about 5 minutes.
Yeah, it's super, super fast. And we'll make sure we put that link into the show notes as well for those of you who are driving and listening. And we want to take a few minutes before we close to talk about this amazing retreat that Shannon is hosting in Pennsylvania. And I have the pleasure and honor of going and attending. I've never been to Pennsylvania, so I'm super excited.
What time of year is it?
In fall, when all the fall leaves are changing.
Nice.
And she has rented this gorgeous lodge in Pennsylvania. It's going to be amazing. But tell people a little bit about the Confident Expert and how you're really going to teach all of us how to sell using our content personality.
Yeah, so this retreat is the Confident Expert Retreat, and it's all about tapping into your content personality, your top 2, and we're going to help you understand how to do that. We're going to help you understand how to put a marketing plan together, and we're going to have lots of practice time. So if you score audio and video and you're like, great, now I have no idea what to do with it, no worries. Like, lots of workshop time. We're going to have time for you to implement stuff in your business. One of the things too that I'm going to really focus on, this is huge in my world, is priced for profit. That your offers are priced for profit from the beginning, so that you're not like me when I was tied to my computer and doing all this kind of like copywriting stuff all hours of the day and night. And like, that was not really priced for profit, even though I had higher prices than a lot of people in the industry. And then Manette is going to teach the creativity piece, which is going to be really fun. We're going to weave it in throughout the weekend, journey circles, and we're going to relate it to your content personalities and your marketing strategy. And I'm really excited to learn from Manette. Like, I think it's going to be so much fun to
I
work
think it's
on the
going to be a
Journey Circle.
beautiful, beautiful collaboration. And I find that the more we add the visual piece, because when people come in with their content personalities, they have different learning styles, right? Shannon and I were both teachers. We know a lot about learning styles. So part of this is understanding what your own learning style is as well, and bringing that visual piece helps really cement the learning so that when you get back to the office on the Monday or Tuesday after the retreat, you have a visual reminder and can go back to that moment of, oh yeah, that's what this was all about, or this was what I needed to learn, or go back to the feeling, that aha, and that feeling of confidence that you felt in the moment at the retreat. We want you to make sure that you're going home with that confidence intact and not just while you're there at the retreat.
Yeah, that's really important to both of us, that it's ingrained.
So do we have all the details?
We
Can
do
talk
have
about
all
them
of
right
the
now?
details. You want to go ahead and share all the details?
So time and place and
yeah,
what
the
they take
juicy
home with
goodies.
them, what the swag is they take home with them.
Yeah, there's some great swag too.
Yeah. So time is October 18 to 21, 2018. And the place is in, I forget the name of the county or the town in Pennsylvania.
Perry County, Pennsylvania.
Thank you. Perry County, Pennsylvania. And my husband will be there teaching yoga and meditation every day for anyone that wants to start their day that way. We have lots of nature time planned, and as Manette and I call it, sisterhood time.
Yes.
Sister time. And we'll be cooking meals together and really just doing a lot of collaboration and confidence building and just having fun. Like, business owners need to get back to having a lot of fun in their business. So you can get all the information at mshannonhernandez.com/PA-retreat and grab your spot. Let's get you registered. Let's get going. Like, let's go into 2019 with an awesome plan and feeling really good about things.
So if someone signs up, they're going to come away with, they're going to understand what their
content personality
They're going to
have their content marketing plan done
based on that
their content personality.
So if I came away as a writer and finger painter, I'm going to have a plan. It says I'm going to finger paint this much in this language, all that type of stuff. Very cool.
Absolutely. And I think we could do a whole nother call about this, but the confidence piece is so important. You know, when Shannon and I met in Denver, we were both going through the same thing and noticing with our clients where what was holding them back more than anything was lack of confidence and really believing in themselves. And so our unique productivity style quiz, the content personality quiz, these are both powerful tools for helping you increase your confidence by getting to know yourself and standing in your zone of genius.
No doubt. No doubt. It's a great way to, just come away. I see that too. We've had a number of clients where I think it was especially telling when we talked to them about blogging, about writing. And as you know, there's a lot of people who struggle mightily with writing in the same way they might struggle in terms of getting on camera. And they shut down pretty quick when you talk to them about wanting to have an editorial calendar. So coming away with something that suits them and their unique personality for how they want to put themselves out in the world, it's going to make them a lot more productive in their business.
Yeah. I have one last question for you before we close. So you have this retreat, you have a Costa Rica retreat, you have a couple of houses that you're working on, you have a team of 12, you have 15 people lined up to work with you. How do you stay organized?
I got an alarm in the middle of the podcast.
So how do you stay organized? And I know you take time off. You were just in Canada. You had a lovely family vacation this summer with your hubby. How do you stay organized and productive?
A couple of things. I've learned, I'm a paper and pen girl all the way. However, with a team of 12, you can't do that. So we use Asana. And we use it religiously. And our rule is if it's not an Asana and it's not assigned to one person and there's not a deadline on it, it doesn't get done. And we all hold each other accountable to it.
Awesome.
The other thing I started doing was, I know that this is a podcast, so I'll try and explain this, but every week on Sunday, I set up a quadrant, and I call this the CEO planning system.
Nice.
And the first quadrant is always Millionaire Mondays. It's what I call my Mondays. It's where I get my mind wrapped around who I need to follow up with, what I'm selling, like for the week, what my focus is, my referral network, and anything else that's relationship-based marketing is always Millionaire Monday, including checking in every week on my financials and that kind of stuff. There's 3 boxes left. One box is project number 1 and one box is project number 2. And I only put the things that need to get done each week in the box for that specific project. And then the last one, it's a bad word. I don't know if I'm allowed to say it.
You are absolutely allowed to say it.
It's called the BFFD zone. And if anyone's familiar with me, I teach this. Your BFFDs are what's actually holding you back. It's where you spend all your time in your business that generates no revenue. And it's called the big fat fucking distractions.
Nice.
And those BFFDs go in this box. And I will tell you, for 4 weeks, the same ones have carried over because I haven't had time to get to them. And I've made more money in the last 4 weeks than months prior. And it's because I've ignored this box. It feels good to write it down. Like, I know it probably needs to get done, but it doesn't matter. Like 8 weeks later, if it's still not done and I'm still making like a shit ton of money, obviously it wasn't that important to me.
Yep. Yeah.
I love that. And I love the simplicity of the system. And it looks like there's no more than 5 things in each of those boxes. It's not like you're overloading those boxes. Her to-do list, for those of you that are listening, is not pages long. All 4 of those quadrants are on one page and each one has a few things listed. So it's a great visual if you're watching on YouTube, and if not, super simple. And I love the millionaire mindset that you bring to the whole system of planning and productivity. It's really powerful.
Yeah. And I think that if there's one takeaway from that, for me, and we've certainly told ourselves this a lot and told our clients, at the end of the day, you need to sell things.
Yes.
You need to focus on the things that make you money.
Yeah.
And it's very easy to, and we're certainly guilty of embracing new ideas and new opportunities. Opportunities have killed a lot of businesses. If you have an income stream, you need to ride that.
Yeah.
Yep.
And develop it.
Yeah,
and people think to sell, they need lots of things like a website page and a whatever. Like this thing I just sold in 36 hours. I didn't have a team working on the weekend. Like I sent them to a PayPal and typed up a paragraph and that was it. And one person said, well, I need a sales page and I need an outline. I said, then this isn't for you. You're not getting that right now. Like this is what the program is. If you want it, let me know. She hasn't seen that message yet. So, but you know, you can't say the wrong thing to the right people. I really believe that. And so all these things you think you need to do and have to sell, you don't. You need to have a good product, some passionate marketing that goes with your content personality, and a way for people to pay you. That's it.
Super simple. Super simple. I love it. Shannon Hernandez. You can find her at mshannonhernandez.com to find out more about what she's up to, or Marketing for Thought Leaders on Facebook. You're brilliant. I love you. And I can't wait to see you in person in a couple of months.
Thanks, Shannon.
Thank you so much.
All right. We'll see you next week on episode 118 of Structure and Flow, where we're going to be talking about workflow. What is workflow? How to improve your workflow. Maybe we'll have Shannon talk about her quadrant system a little bit. I love that. But when it comes to creatives who are managing multiple projects all at the same time, workflow matters. That's what we'll be sharing next time. We'll see you then.